Hi, this is Don Havre with the real estate firm in the Tri-Cities in the state of Washington. I'm a real estate broker. I've been in the business for a little over 20 years, and during that period of time, several times I've had buyers and sometimes sellers ask me about the home inspection process. So I thought it'd be a good idea to review that. In doing so, I've actually divided this into three major segments. The first segment dealing with business practices, which we've already recorded. The second one dealing with the home inspection procedures or process, and then finally I thought I'd interview a home inspector. In the process of discussing the home inspector procedures, as a review, we indicated that the home inspector must provide a copy of the pre-inspection agreement to the client prior to the inspection unless prevented by circumstances from doing so. In addition, the home inspectors provide the client a copy of the home inspection report according to the terms of the pre-inspection agreement. Now, as we get into the actual inspection itself, the inspection should typically start with the structure. And an inspection of the structure will include the visible foundation, floor framing, roof framing, and decking, and other support and substructure and superstructure components, including stairs, ventilation when applicable, exposed concrete slabs in garage and habitable areas. Now, the inspector will describe the type of building materials comprising the major structural components, enter and traverse attic and subfloor crawl spaces, and inspect the condition and serviceability of visible exposed foundations and grade slabs, walls, posts, piers, beams, joists, etc. Subfloor crawl spaces and basements for indications of flooding and moisture penetration. The inspector is supposed to probe a representative number of structural components where deterioration is suspected or where clear indications of possible deterioration exist. Probing is not required when probing will damage any finished surface or where no deterioration is suspected. Now, the inspector is not required to enter subfloor crawl spaces that require excavation or have access openings less than 18 inches by 24 inches or headroom less than 18 inches beneath the floor joist and 12 inches beneath the girders or the beams, or any areas that are not readily accessible. Now, as far as the exterior, an inspection of the exterior includes the visible wall coverings, trim, protective coatings and sealants, windows and doors, attached porches, decks, steps, balconies, handrails, guardrails, carports, eaves, soffits, fascia, and visible exterior portions. The inspection will include exterior components visible from the ground level. The inspector is supposed to inspect visible wall coverings, trim, protective coatings and sealants, windows and doors, attached porches, decks, steps, balconies, handrails, guardrails, carports, eaves, soffits, fascia, and visible exterior portions of the chimney. They're supposed to probe exterior components where deterioration is suspected or clear indications of possible deterioration exist. Now, the inspector is not required to inspect buildings, decks, patios, fences, retaining walls, and other structures detached from the dwelling. However, I frequently find that most inspectors will in fact inspect these other items, especially when we're talking about fencing. Now, the roof itself, an inspection of the roof includes roof coverings, materials, gutters and downspout systems, visible flashings, roof vents, skylights, and other roof penetrations and portions of the chimney and flues visible from the exterior. Now, the inspector should traverse the roof to inspect it, inspect the gutters and downspout systems, visible flashings, soffits, fascia, skylights, and other roof penetrations, and report the manner in which the roof is ventilated, describe the type and general condition of the roof coverings, and report multiple layers of roofing when visible or readily apparent, and of course describe any deficiencies that may be noted. The inspector is not required to traverse a roof where, in the opinion of the inspector, doing so can damage the roofing materials. And I think probably a primary example of this is we have a fair number of homes that were built in the 60s and 70s that still have wood shingle roofs on them. And many people think that if you walk across those, that they're so brittle as a result of the heat we have here that we definitely can damage those roofs. Now, the inspector is not required to inspect gutters and downspout systems concealed within the structure, and I think this goes without reason. There's no way that they can actually get within the structure itself to do that type of inspection. Now, we're talking about plumbing systems. An inspection of the plumbing system includes visible water supply lines, visible waste or soil and vent lines, fixtures and faucets, and domestic hot water systems and fuel source. The inspection should include a description of the visible water supply and distribution piping materials, drain, waste, and vent materials, and water heating equipment. The report should indicate the presence and functionality of sump pumps, waste ejector pumps when visible, or confirm the float switch activates the pump when the sump is dry. The inspector should inspect the condition of accessible and visible water supply pipes, drain, waste, plumbing, and the domestic hot water supply system when possible. Should operate the fixtures in order to observe how functional they might be and check for functional drainage of fixtures. Now, the inspector is not required to inspect or operate any valves, including faucets of freestanding or built-in appliances or fixtures, if the outlet of the valve or faucet is connected or intended to be connected to an appliance. In addition, it's not required to inspect any system that has to be shut down or is already winterized. Now, when we talk about the electrical portion of the inspection of the electrical system includes the service drop through the main panel, sub-panels, including feeders, branch circuits, connected devices, and lighting fixtures. So therefore, the inspection should describe in the report the type of primary service, whether overhead or underground, voltage, amperage, over-circuit protection devices, including fuses or breakers, and the type of branch wiring used. The report should indicate the existence of connected service grounding conductor and service grounding electrodes when same can be determined. When no connection to a service grounding electrode can be confirmed, that should also be reported, and the inspector should inspect the main and branch circuit conductors for proper overcurrent protection and condition by visible observation after removal of the readily accessible main and subelectric panel covers. The report should indicate, if present, solid conductor aluminum branch circuits, and indicate a statement in the report that solid conductor aluminum wiring may be hazardous and a licensed electrician should inspect the system to ensure its safety. Now, as far as the inspector is not required to insert any tool or probe or testing device into a main or sub-panel, activate electrical systems or branch circuits that are not energized, or operate circuit breakers or service disconnects, or remove fuses. So that's the first part of what goes on during the home inspection. In the next segment, we're actually going to complete the home inspection itself and talk about the other components that are missing. Once again, my name is Don Havre, and I'm with the real estate firm here in the Tri-Cities in the state of Washington. And we're providing this information as a public service so people have a little bit better understanding what's involved in the home inspection process in the state of Washington.